Welcome everybody. Welcome back to the show. We are Last Night We Watched. I'm your host Carlos. Today I got Roman, Christian, Ian, and Mark with me. What's up, guys?
Howdy.
Howdy.
What's up?
Pretty groovy.
Today we watched the new Hulu original film, Prey. It's the new entry to the Predator franchise, and we are ready for some kills. Let's jump into it. The new Prey movie. This one stars Amber Midthunder as Naru, and it's taken place in 1719 in the northern Great Plains. We're following the Comanche tribe, and this time they are encountering fur trappers. The white man has come to the land, but along with him, the Predator. So we get to face off and fight a brand new, more primal Predator this time. He doesn't have a big laser cannon this time, but he still does have a lot of fancy technology, and he's ready to take on people with bows and arrows and muskets. I gotta ask you, Rome, what'd you think about this one?
I mean, I liked it. I kept comparing it to the original, which I think is kind of inevitable when you're doing something in the same franchise, and Predator is as good as it is, and a favorite of mine as it is. It's definitely different, but I liked it. I liked the aspect of taking it back 300 years and then, making it go up against some indigenous peoples instead of some tough-ass commandos with, miniguns and stuff like that. Instead, she's got an axe on a string, Yeah, I liked it. I actually had a pretty good time with it. I kind of found myself during watching it, I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this. But then, afterwards, I was kind of thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, that was a pretty fun movie. Yeah. It could have been bad, man. It could have been The Predator, 2018.
Exactly.
Did you see that? You have seen The Predator?
No,
Okay.
I've seen pieces of it, and I think that's all I need to see.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would not waste your time on it.
What about you, Christian? What did you think about Prey?
I liked it. I thought it was a pretty decent Predator film. I guess I can only say it's my second favorite Predator film because it's the second Predator film I have ever seen. So
Me too, actually.
yeah, I haven't seen Predator 2. I haven't seen any of the AVP stuff.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Yeah, it's, it was a decent Predator movie. Like, it was made competently, and I like the acting in it. The people in the movie were pretty good. The Predator itself, it's a different design. This time around, the Predator has like this, I don't know what it is. It's like a skull or something like that.
Like
The front of a
helmet,
skull kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't mind. I mean, I could see people not being into that and wanting it to be the traditional look of the Predator, but I still thought it was cool. Overall, I was impressed.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, not like super impressed, like pretty impressed. So
What about you, Ian? What did you think about this one?
I thought it was pretty boring.
Mm.
It felt like a movie about Native Americans or a Native American tribe that like maybe like have some kind of conflict with French settlers, and then it just so happens to have a Predator in it. It didn't really feel like a Predator movie to me. It just felt like the Predator was an afterthought. But having said that, I agree, Christian. I thought it was competently made. There's a lot of good cinematography in this.
Yes.
It's cool that they're on location. One thing Christian brought up is like all the Star Wars shows, they're not really there in the desert. They're just in a room where I forget. Do you remember what they call it?
it's one of those like I don't know the name. It's like where they have this they have a screen that's surrounding the entire set. It's not a green screen or a blue screen, but it's like some sort of like you feel like you're there. Sort of like, have you ever been on that Epcot ride where you're like on the glider or whatever and you're like flying through?
No.
Okay, well there's a ride at Epcot.
They
that I
have it
remember.
at California Adventure, I think, too.
Oh,
Okay.
gliding through California
Yeah,
or something like
yeah.
that?
Yeah, it's sort of like that. So you feel like you're there. I mean, obviously you're not actually there, but yeah, I think it was actually like they were on set.
It looked like it for this film.
At least it looked like it. I don't know if they were actually there. I don't know. A lot of the shots looked like they were like straight up there in the northern plains or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So
I think they filmed a lot in Canada, I saw.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, I think there's some similarities there.
Yeah.
At least they were at a place and not in a studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or if they were in a studio, it looked really convincing.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
So you liked that it was on location, you said, Ian? Like,
Yeah, I really liked when she's walking. I think when she first leaves initially, the camp, the tribe, whatever you want to call it. There's just a lot of shots of her and the dog that looked really good. Yeah, so it's a competently made film. It's pretty well acted. I don't know. Apparently, it's better than the first Predator, according to that article right there.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of articles like that.
I guess I'm not sophisticated enough to see that. I don't know.
well, that sounds like a hot take, you know.
Yeah.
generate clicks.
You know, this movie, you can make the red letter media joke, but I'm not going to because it does. You know, it's a lot of Native Americans are cast in this, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I didn't really like the look of the Predator. I just thought it looked kind of silly. Just not really. Again, didn't really look like a Predator to me. Just looked kind of like someone's like cheap knockoff version of a Predator. And yeah, we were kind of talking. The CGI is kind of bad.
Yeah.
I didn't like the look of the blood at all. I thought the blood looked awful.
Yeah.
It looked
Whose
way,
blood?
The Predator's blood. I
Oh.
thought it looked way too video gamey.
Hmm.
That's what maybe I couldn't really describe to Christian why I didn't really like it last night. It just looked really video gamey and not physical. Like, and it's weird because it's just such a simple solution. It's just KY jelly and glow stick inside.
Yeah.
I don't know why they made it look like that in this movie. Maybe that was their point. They wanted to go for something different. I don't know, but you know, it's just there. You know, didn't really. I wasn't really mad or anything. You know, it wasn't insulting. It's better than a lot of the other Predator movies, but at the same time, I just kind of was like, okay, well, that was that.
Yeah. Another Predator film. There you go.
That doesn't really feel like a Predator film, but yeah.
What'd you think about it, Mark?
I agree with Ian. It seemed like a Predator was dropped into this movie. I don't know. I really didn't like it that much. I thought they spent. Here's the thing. I was kind of torn because I felt that they spent too much time with the Native American buildup.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you know, I can see them doing it because they're helping introduce the Native American way to us.
Yeah. Right.
But I don't know. It's just, you know, like her, for instance, her throwing the hatchet between trees. Okay, you can throw a hatchet between trees. You did like 10 freaking times.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, there's a lot of things that they hung up on the Predator. You know, most of the movies, you know, they introduce him later in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they ease him into it, which they did in this movie, but I think they eased him into it too late. I think they should have at least had him, you know, doing reconnaissance or whatever with the Native Americans a little sooner. The French, that was a nice twist when they brought the French in because he wasn't really ready for the French.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw the French camp and it was really freaking big, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, how is he going to do this? Because if they all jump him at once, he's not going to survive. But as it turns out, he picked them off like he always does. One more thing. I like that he didn't, somebody mentioned this earlier. I'm glad that he didn't have that big plasma gun.
Yeah.
You know, it actually shot arrows.
Yeah.
And so that kind of gave the Native Americans, you know, okay, I'm familiar with this warfare, you know. Granted, they move like 1 billion miles an hour and they're made of metal, but, you know, still, you know, I think it kind of helped them in that case.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that upset me, like I yelled at the TV because this upset me this much, is when Naru's brother was fighting him and he goes camo, disappears to finish him off. I'm like, you chicken shit, you know, stay out there, you know, so you guys can have a fair fight.
Yeah.
So
He knew he was losing.
Right, exactly. So
He was getting his butt kicked.
One thing, just real quick before I forget, when Mark was talking about characters, that's another thing about this movie is when you look at the characters in Predator and even Predator 2, these characters are so much more. I'm not gonna remember these characters. I don't even remember her brother's name.
Right.
I don't remember
yeah.
any of the other dudes' names. They're just there.
Yeah.
I don't remember the
Red shirts.
I guess it was her mom in the TP. I don't know. Maybe it was her mom. I have no idea. But I highly doubt I'm gonna remember these characters.
Definitely.
It's tough to kind of make a Predator movie after Predator, and in my opinion, Predator 2, because those characters are so fun and distinguishable. These ones are just kind of like I couldn't really distinguish which a lot of them from, because they all kind of acted the same. Fine acting, not bad acting, but the characters just were, I don't know.
they really had, in the other Predator movies, the first and second one, the heroes had really big personalities.
Huge personalities.
Yeah.
And these guys really, didn't, which fits them because they're tracking and they're quiet and that kind of stuff, and you really don't. But like the character thing, when she had the gun and she was at the edge of the woods and that mean bald-headed Frenchman was there washing up, I'm like, who's that? I had no idea who that was. Kathy had to tell me who he was.
Yeah.
So I will probably never watch this again. If I do, because Kathy kind of liked it, so it'll probably be on, and I'll probably look up from time to time and when it gets loud, but otherwise I won't. So.
Nice.
Very cool.
Did you say what you thought about it?
No, I think I like this one, guys. I actually have it right next to Predator 1 as my second favorite film. Maybe my issue is that I studied Native American history as my primary study at college. But I thought it was really interesting. Marlon Brando would be smiling down on us right now because he was a big Native American actor advocate. And we got a all Native American cast.
That's not necessarily true. I mean, the French settlers are
Right.
not Native.
That's true.
I don't know what they mean by that when they say that it's an all Native American cast, because obviously there's not, but
Yeah.
it's predominantly Native American.
Yeah, I don't know about the guy that played the Predator either.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
But I think it's at least good that the Native Americans
least
are
the
played
main
by
cast.
Native Americans.
Yeah, at
it's
least
not
the
like
main cast.
the crying Indian they
It's
call
an
him.
Italian guy or whatever.
Yeah, he's Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just how it was in the 60s or
Right.
50s or whatever. But
Yeah.
you couldn't do that today, and they shouldn't, and they didn't. It's good.
I actually went back and rewatched. Hulu has pretty much all the Predator films out right now, so I rewatched Predator 2, AVP, Predators 2010, AVP Requiem, and I was looking at all the different designs of the Predators that have come throughout. I think Predators 2010 is probably the second one to get bold with the redesign. They have like one where it's a bone-jawed Predator with like a metal mask. He's always been pretty cool. I really like the design of this Predator. I'm surprised that you guys didn't. I thought the skull mask was pretty interesting, pretty fresh. Even when he takes the mask off, the face is not the same classic thing that we're used to seeing. It's a little bit more, I don't know, I don't want to say alien or anything, but it's different.
Less mandible.
Less mandible,
I
yeah.
thought the opposite. I thought the mandibles were much more big.
Mm-hmm.
It took way more of his face up.
Yeah,
so.
there's something a little more big about
It's
the
like he
face
was
and like
3/4
that.
mandible.
Like the forehead looked a little bit bigger too. I
Yeah.
think. So.
Yeah, and different tools. Like Predator 2, he doesn't really use too much firepower. He used a lot more hand-to-hand combat in Predator 2. This one, he definitely goes hand-to-hand. He's got the new shield. The new arrow gun is a fun one. Which, going back to the arrow gun, it reminded me a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Michael Rooker's character. I got
yeah.
that too.
Yeah, where he's zipping him
The
around.
tracker. That's right.
Yeah. Interesting to use that as the final kill, too. Use his own
Well,
weapons against him.
Was that her plan?
Yeah.
Was that her plan? Really?
That's why she set it up, yeah.
She did set that up.
She set up the mud pit with the arrow.
And how did the helmet kills him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So didn't the helmet just get knocked off and accidentally just serendipitously go there?
No, she
No, she set
she
it up.
planted it. Yeah.
When did she plan it? I don't even remember.
Like
that.
she's fighting the Predator. I think it's when her brother dies. Maybe he knocks it off, or I can't remember, but it gets knocked off at some point. She scoops it, she dips, and then runs away, and then sets like the trap in the quick mud. And
I don't
then
remember that at all. It just
she like puts it between two rocks. I remember she
okay.
sets it up.
It just seemed like an accident.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
No.
whoops, he's
It
dead.
was built up because like there was a scene earlier where like they saw the arrows going to wherever his thing was pointing, his laser sights were pointing. Even though he was shooting them one way, they would like redirect again, just like Guardians of the Galaxy, like you said.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was clever actually. I thought it was kind of cool to have him killed by his own thing.
I'd say it's a takeaway for me. It didn't come across like, for me, it didn't come across like she actually planned that. It just like, it was like, you know, just like
Serendipitous.
I don't know. Just, like yeah.
Lucky shot.
Accident.
Lucky shot. Like when you're playing a game online, you're like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
The Predator is like, she's fucking aimbotting, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like the main actress, Amber Midthunder playing Naru. She was pretty
I'll
good.
never forget her name.
Yeah,
Her name.
yeah,
She was really good, I agree.
yeah.
Yeah, she's a good actress.
They have a Comanche dubbed version of this film too on Hulu. I went back and watched it, and I don't know what I was expecting. It's dubbed. It's not.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
so
not the actual like
Okay.
speaking it.
It's like Speed Racer versions of
Ex-
dubbing too.
Exactly. Yeah.
I watched like 10 minutes of it, and I was like, okay, I'm turning this back.
Yeah.
The Comanche or Speed Racer?
Comanche.
Both.
It was Speed
Yeah.
Racer levels of dubbing. I was saying like this, you know,
That's
I don't know.
hilarious.
I wish they had re-recorded some of it. I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess that's too much to ask.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Cool that they offer that though. You can watch it all in the Comanche language.
It's kind of gimmicky, you know.
Kind of gimmicky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
But you know,
it's cool. It is a very underrepresented group in film, so
Yeah.
yeah, at least they have that.
And then we also had a couple shout outs back to the previous films. Predator, we have a line from the original Predator.
did anybody else clap? I clapped, 'cause I remember
I
that
had
in
to pause
Predator.
it.
Did you remember that one from
Yeah.
Predator 1?
I remember that from Predator.
You remember
he goes,
when Arnold Schwarzenegger
he
said
goes, if
that?
it bleeds, we can kill it. And then the brother says that in this movie, and I clapped. I clapped all the way while I should have watched it.
You did.
Yeah, because I remember it.
That's one I saw, and I kind of like groaned when he said it. But then later I was like, you know, I guess it's not that bad. I kind of wish it had been more campy, but I think that's kind of a bad thing to ask of a movie.
You can do it well. In Predator 2, I think they do it well. So Danny Glover's looking at the Predator. He's going, you an ugly, and it chokes him. And then the Predator goes, motherfucker. It finishes the line. I'm like, that's kind of cool. It's a callback,
Yeah.
but it's also a different spin. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. You can do it well instead of just like, remember.
I'll tell you, I'm glad we didn't have that in this one, ugly motherfucker, because
Yeah, I
after
asked Christian,
rewatching
like, do
all
you
the
think she's gonna call him an ugly motherfucker? Like, did they even know what a motherfucker is?
Yeah.
in these times.
but rewatching all the films, that one's in like almost all the films.
Yeah.
Like AVP, she's like, you are one
Right.
ugly
I remember.
motherfucker.
Yeah. Did they say it in Requiem also?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah. But for sure, like Predator 2 and
Did they say it in
AVP had it.
Predators?
They might, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or, I don't. I haven't seen Predators or
That's
the
probably-
Predators since the theaters. I really don't remember much about them.
Probably one of the most overused ones in these films.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it bleeds, we can kill it. It's one of the more, what's it called? Remembered lines.
Yeah.
Mhm.
More notable
Iconic
lines.
lines, I
yeah,
guess, yeah.
Quotable.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it's not cheesy either, you know,
yeah,
really.
in this movie, you mean? Or
I thought
in
this-
general.
in this movie, it was just like, you know, it was the mandated callback to
gotta have
Predator.
one.
Yeah.
It's just like
There's a
I
couple.
don't know, like
Well, that's not
Again,
our only
that's-
callback, though. Did you get a chance to watch Predator 2 at all?
No,
I was gonna talk about this. Yeah,
Spoiler-
I know I
spoiler
recognize the
Oh.
pistol.
This whole show's a spoiler.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler for Predator 2, a
Yeah.
26-year-old movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
32-year-old movie. Yeah.
At the end of Prey, she comes back and tosses the chief of the tribe the pistol, and he looks down at it just like in Predator 2.
Yeah, but and I was like, well, I was very conflicted on that because I'm like, well, that's nice that they're referencing Predator 2 because apparently everyone thinks that movie sucks except me. But it doesn't make any sense because a predator, the head of the predators in the ship on Predator 2, give that to Danny Glover, but apparently it was owned by this main character girl in this movie. So how the hell did the predators get that to give to Danny Glover. It just doesn't make sense to me.
You know, I noticed
Once
in
I
the
started thinking about it.
in the credits, there's like the animated cave painting type stuff, and they show like the predator coming back down to the tribe.
They show like a bunch of ships coming
Yeah,
back
like
down
they
to the
descend.
tribe. Yeah, and the
So do
tribe's
they all
like running
die?
away.
That's what I was wondering. Like, do all the Comanche just die?
Prey
Yeah,
2.
and then they take the flintlock pistol.
I guess so. That's kind of what I
Okay.
thought. Because, like I said, I've never seen Predator 2, but I somehow, maybe through you guys, I've heard of the pistol. So I knew when I saw it. Like, oh, there it is.
I mean, I think it's nice they're referencing Predator 2, but at the same time, it's just like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. How the hell does the Predator give it to Danny Glover? I guess a bunch of other Predators came and killed them and took it.
Forgot
I
about the
don't know.
continuity after 30 years. I'm like, yeah, forget it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of continuity, a sidetrack here. There was a comic book called Predator 1718 by Henry Gilroy and Igor Cordy. The tale opens up with a Spanish pirate, Captain Rafael Adolini.
That's the name on the gun.
Yeah,
Mm.
whose crew mutinies against him when he seeks to return stolen gold to the church for which it had been destined. Adolini is battling his own crew who's mutinying him, and a nearby predator keeps watch. And then eventually this Adolini guy kills his crewmates who were trying to kill him, and the predator comes up behind him and he's like, hey, now I'm ready to fight you. But then one of the crewmates accidentally kills Adolini.
So how the hell did the French guys get it then? Is this canon, the comic?
I
Not
don't
gonna
know.
lie,
It might not be.
that actually sounds more entertaining than the movie that
Right.
we just watched. But
Well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking is like, where'd this pistol come from? Apparently
Yeah.
this was like a year before 1719,
Okay.
so maybe the Frenchman picked it up
it has
off of that.
1715 written on it, I think.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
They traded for it. They're traders and trappers and... you
That's
know,
true. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know. It could be it.
Yeah.
It was a good shout out to Predator 2. I liked it.
Yeah, but sometimes it's the prequel thing. Sometimes it's better to just not know about it. And
Right.
just guess
Yeah.
as to how the Predators got it, what happened, why they got it, what entailed them getting it. Sometimes it's just better not to know. But at the same time, I mean, again, at least they're referencing Predator 2.
Yep.
They could have done. It could have been in a museum, and it could have been Night at the Museum 3.
Or Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
It belongs in a museum. So do you.
But I think one of you guys said that this was a slow movie. I gotta agree. I gotta
just
agree.
boring.
Yeah.
Slow and boring, maybe.
Well,
Boring.
At least the first half.
Made it slow.
Yeah, the first half definitely, because it is a lot of scenery shots, a lot of nature shots.
I
I
was
think,
watching a nature documentary at some parts.
yeah, looking at bunnies and snakes.
CGI bunnies and snakes, too.
Yeah.
I just can't get behind CGI animals. Like it reminds me of like the, I don't know, 90s or whatever, when CGI really blew up and everybody's like, we could do it now. It looks so realistic and everything. And I think now they're thinking, oh, we've perfected CGI animals. You have not.
No.
Like I can always tell. It always looks, like the shots of the dog are good. There was some shots of that wolf that was like a real wolf, and then it changes to a CGI dog, and you're like, dude, I could totally tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that upset me.
I also thought it was kind of weird that the predator's just hunting bunnies and
Yeah,
doggies
snakes.
and
Yeah, I guess
snakes.
I guess he's working his way up the food chain.
Yeah, I think he was just
Yeah.
getting a lay of the land. I think
Yeah.
is
It's
what
like,
he
what's
was
strong
doing.
around here?
You gotta figure too. The CGI wise, yes. Who made it? Paramount.
20th century.
20th
students.
century. Okay, 20th century made it, but Hulu probably eventually. I mean, they had to put some money toward it, and
Was this? I thought this was planned to go to theaters though, and then was it planned to go to theaters?
Oh, I don't know.
I do not know.
They could
I
have.
don't know.
I mean, that was the big thing for me. I'm like, well, okay, obviously they have a lot of faith in it. They're just sending it directly to streaming, and to me that was a red flag. But it seemed like it could have played in theaters with the cinematography.
Cinematography, some of the sound I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like the soundtrack.
I love the soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack was really good.
It was very subtle, I thought, though.
That was my problem with Predator 2 is they just reused a lot of the same music from Predator 1, and in this one it had a pretty original soundtrack, and
All the instrumentation is,
It sounded
indigenous.
a lot like The Last of the Mohicans,
Yeah.
which
Mm-hmm.
I love that soundtrack.
Yeah,
But
that's
there was
another
a lot
really
of
good soundtrack.
flavoring
Never seen that
of
one.
that in it.
Mm-hmm.
Good movie.
I've seen
Highly
the-
recommend
the
it.
Kevin Costner one, isn't it like the same movie?
Are you talking about Dances with
Yeah,
Wolves?
it's the same
Oh.
plot, right?
It's very
Yeah.
similar, yes. And you could have, yeah. I'm glad they didn't do any of that in this movie. Just let it be its own thing. Don't make it Pocahontas.
Right.
The sixth version of Pocahontas.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that seems too easy. Like we're like, oh, we're making a movie about Native Americans. Well, let's bring in a European love interest or something.
Right.
Yeah.
None of that, thankfully.
Yeah. No, I actually thought the beginning. It reminded me of Predator. You know how Predator is sort of two movies in one. That's kind of how this was. It was like a survival movie or something. It just so happens that the first movie in this movie was something I'm not really interested in.
And boring.
Yeah, it was boring.
Yeah.
I definitely was like kind of checking my watch. I'm like, I paused it, see how far in I am. I'm like, damn, 36 minutes already.
How long is this movie?
About an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, hour 47. I looked it up.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. So I mean, it was cool setting it up. I just thought like you were spot on, Mark. They spent too long on it, I thought.
Yeah.
She's living off the land. They're making their own weapons, and they're very resourceful and things like that, which is cool. Again, kind of a callback to the first one, how Dutch, has to make all his traps and everything. But yeah, just felt like a nature documentary for a little while.
It reminded me a lot of The Revenant starring Leonardo DiCaprio. 'Cause
Bears and all.
there's a lot of those landscape shots or like looking up at the moon shots in that film. And then this one we have a lot of, just staring at the Great Plains or...
They are pretty shots, though.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
They
Yeah.
are. They are.
But it's gorgeous, yeah, and you're in awe, and you're looking at all this kind of stuff. But then there's something in the back of your mind say, okay, let's get this shit rolling.
Yeah, get some kills going.
I kept wondering when they were gonna actually like show the Predator's face. That took them a while
Yeah.
to do. They kept teasing it, and they're showing him like walking around. They're showing him, doing his thing a little bit, but
Covered in blood.
right.
Well,
and
Yeah.
it took a bit too long to get to like the real shit for things to really go down.
Well, I'm trying to think of P1, Predator 1. We don't really see him until
That's
the
the
very
thing.
end,
Well,
I
I
suppose.
think the reason why they did that in this movie is because they maybe knew they didn't have that great of a design for the face, but that's just me. Let's see how long we can hold off not showing this.
I was sort of disappointed
lackluster design.
with the mask, but that was before I knew it was a mask. I thought that was just his face. I'm like, what the hell kind of Predator is this? It looks like, I don't know.
I could tell that he was gonna take it off. I was like, at some point he's gonna do the thing where he like just derobes and takes everything off. But in this one, he doesn't do it himself. Somebody like whacks it off of him, which I did think I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's a funny thing because in Predator 1, that's a strength. I should just call it Predator, not Predator 1. Predator, that's kind of a strength of the movie is how you don't get to see it. It's the whole Jaws thing.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's the 7th Predator movie. You kind of know what to expect, so you can't really do the same thing. It's not a surprise, really, when you see the Predator, because you're like, yep, that's what he looks like. He's got sort of dreadlocks, and, Of course, this one is different. He's got the bone plate.
Looks like a horse. Helmet. It's like a horse's face got cut off or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It does look a little like a horse skull.
I just left, kind of just like, or not left. When we were done watching, I'm just like,
So do you think...
Looks like Pan's Labyrinth.
So do you think this works because, it's really early, first time to Earth, that kind of thing. He has a bone plate up there, but he still has this advanced gun, advanced weaponry.
I was a little confused on that. He looks like Cubone from Pokemon. That's what I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I was a little,
yes.
I was a little confused on that, too, because I'm like, Predators are clearly like an advanced civilization and everything. Like, I didn't really understand why he wouldn't have a plasma cannon. And, I get the idea of sort of stooping to the level of his competition, using the arrows against the Native Americans and things like that. But
that's what I was thinking.
I was like, would 300 years really make that big of a difference with the Predator?
No, I think I say it in our original Predator review. I think it's just each Predator, like how someone on planet Earth would, has like their own set of weapons they like to use.
Mm-hmm.
He maybe has access to the shoulder cannon, maybe just doesn't like using it, prefers the arrows.
Yeah,
could be. Yeah,
I mean,
he likes getting dirty.
It didn't really make a difference to me. I guess it was neat seeing other things in the Wild Wild West discs, but I don't know. You asked if it works. I guess it works.
Did you like the shield? I don't remember if we talked about
It
that.
was okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
He uses it as a weapon and a
dumb
shield.
or bad. I'll give you that.
Having all the
cooler kills is with the shield.
Yeah.
Activates it and decapitates the guy and chops the tree.
That was
I thought it was pretty cool.
Do I need to watch Wild Wild West? Because you always refer to it.
Oh, yeah, I did. Really.
Yeah. We got to make a
gotta
list of
talk-
all the
we gotta
movies
talk
you must
about it.
know. You have to watch Wild Wild West, Big Lebowski. For me,
Oh,
you got
I've
to watch
seen
all of
that.
Seinfeld.
Yeah. Yes.
To understand anything we're saying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love Lebowski.
Tiptoes.
Good stuff.
Toes.
Yeah.
Did
Remind me. I showed Carlos. I have this thing on my phone of a bumper sticker that
The
I was
classic.
driving behind yesterday. I gotta show you guys.
how long do predators live? Is there like a exact?
I don't.
Do they have like a lifespan of sorts?
That's
Is
a
this
good question.
because
They don't go into it in any of those 7?
I don't think they do. They
It's-
may be in the comics.
it's not the same predator from the original?
No.
No,
right?
no,
Okay.
No.
no. I
Well,
would
this
say
one
so.
dies.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Too.
Okay. Yeah. No shit. Yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this one's like designed super differently. Not super differently, just like with
It's
the
pretty different. It's
well,
pretty-
just with the head, with the thing
Yeah.
on his head.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Because that's the first time they've done that, isn't it? Like where they
No, Carlos is right. I think they do kind of change it up in Predators and whatnot. Like they have other kind of style Predators. I think Carlos is from what I
Right.
recall. That sounds very familiar.
with this exact one though. That's the first time he had like a skull thing that on his head or whatever.
In the 2010 version, he has like a skull jaw and a metal helmet.
Looks like a xenomorph head.
Looks like Buford Pusser in Walking Tall. I just watched
What the
Walking
hell?
Tall. He gets
Buford
shot.
Pusser.
But Buford Pusser, yeah, he gets shot, so he has to wear like this thing over the lower half of his face.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, in that movie too, there are
There we go.
two different kinds of predators.
Like a
you
super
know.
predator and
Yeah,
Hmm.
and the same thing in the other one, where they brought the uniform for him to fight. You know, they had this. He was huge.
Mhm.
This one, it was after him. You know, so
It's not that I don't have a problem with it. I just like there can be different looking predators. That's fine. I just thought this design was not that cool looking
Right.
or that memorable.
Yeah.
I have nothing against you can make them look different. That's fine because it's gonna get boring to just see the same one over and over again. I understand that, but like again, Predator 2 at the end, Kiko is like, or even the Predator. I mean, those are. I think I don't want to give that movie props, but
That one looks goofy.
I think a lot of them look better. That one, not so
They
much.
look like
Maybe
Space
go
Marines
go
or
down.
something. Yeah.
Keep going down.
You can see the predator
There,
here.
right there, the 3 of them. No. Yeah, like those. Like, I think those look pretty good.
yeah.
But this
Well,
one,
it's
I don't
that
know.
futuristic alien mask that you expect from Predator, and then
Right.
this one just kind of turns it on its head and says, "We're just doing like a bone helmet."
Yeah, nothing wrong. I don't know. It made me kind of want a little more.
It did-
I don't know.
So is this
Yeah.
the first predator ever to go to Earth? Do you guys know? Because I get the idea it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
yeah.
That's too bad though, because I would want to see him like fight samurais, and I want to see him fight
Yeah.
like ancient Egyptians
Well,
and
hey,
things like
dude,
that.
This is apparently getting rave reviews and is better than the original Predator. So I'm sure they're gonna make more, and I'm sure
That's gotta
that is
be-
on the table. We could definitely see that.
That's so weird. That better than the original. I find that so. I mean, you can have your opinions.
Oh,
And stuff, but that's just
That's clickbait for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's,
What were you gonna say, Mark?
In the Alien versus Predator, that was supposed to have been
They went to
Aztec
ancient
built,
Egypt,
right?
yeah.
so
Maybe it's not the first Predator to go to Earth
right.
in this film.
Or maybe the continuity is just not good movie to
Yeah,
movie.
exactly. Yeah, we made the
'Cause
people
there's-
that wrote Alien versus Predators are stupid.
There's just plenty of movie franchises that do that. They
That whole movie's dumb.
retconning.
Again, why do the Predators
AVP.
like Heat, which also, by the way, is not referenced at all in this. The Predators like Heat.
Get it closer.
The Predators like Heat, but they go to Antarctica. Like what?
Yeah, that's right. I remember you saying
And
that.
not gonna lie, I don't like how that's not referenced in this either, because that's what we're taught.
The Antarctica or the heat?
No, the heat.
I mean, I thought the thermal vision was okay.
No, I'm talking about the environment, heat, like
Oh,
like
it's
hot.
not a jungle. He's in
Yeah.
the plains. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
guess so.
I guess we're just supposed to forget about that. So
Yeah.
Wait, what are you talking about?
the Predator goes to where there's a lot of conflict. That's another thing too. Goes to where there's a lot of conflict and there's a heat, like a heat wave.
Oh.
In the first one, the reason why he's there is because of the conflict between the whatever they're supposed to be, the Contras,
Yeah.
and the group that went in previously.
And the fact
And
that they're in
now
the jungle.
Arnold's the second movie, there's a heat wave in Los Angeles. There's a drug war going on. That's why he's there.
Huh.
So
It seems like
Again,
maybe
I
they
guess-
picked and chose things to
Yeah,
chose.
we're just supposed to selectively, forget things. So
Yeah.
Well, AVP, they're
Throw out
going back
everything we
because there's a new hunt going on with the aliens. The xenomorphs might come back, and that's like a very exciting event for them.
Yeah.
This film, I don't know, might be some conflict with the white man versus the natives.
Yeah, you could probably say that.
but not until we meet them.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't know it, I don't
Yeah.
think. I wrote it down at the very beginning. I was like, bear trap? Who's putting down bear traps? You know?
Mhm.
And then, of course, later it gets revealed. The French.
Anyway, much like the first Predator was a metaphor for AIDS, Prey happens to be a metaphor for smallpox.
I was gonna say monkeypox. maybe, 'cause we're
Yeah.
right now.
Well, they had smallpox back in the day
No,
when
but
the colonials.
They were inspired by monkeypox.
Oh,
Although
the
they
current
probably,
times.
They probably filmed this like last year, so.
It's a metaphor for
Yeah.
COVID. But the Native Americans were decimated by flus that the white settlers brought to the lands. Anyway, an invisible force.
Because you can't see the predator.
You can't see what's happening, and people are dropping. We don't know why.
You know, I thought that was interesting about this predator. Like, he gets hit, and it does that kind of, I don't know, force fieldy type thing. Like,
Oh, like his
It's-
invisibility is being affected.
yeah, it seems like the hits are affecting his visibility. Like, I wonder if that's because he's a more, not prehistoric, but old. He's just not as technologically advanced. Maybe like
I
he doesn't
can
have as
see
much
that.
control over stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But one thing I did think was really cool, and you brought it up, Christian, the blood on him. I thought that was a really cool way of, visualizing the predator. Like, you can see him now because he's covered in friggin' bear blood and stuff like that. Now,
Yeah.
the effects themselves are another thing. I didn't particularly care for the CGI, especially anything to do with the blood. I thought all the blood looked awful.
Right.
Um, But the idea was really cool.
Yeah.
I thought the idea of him getting, even like the ant crawling on him at the very beginning and the snake like running into him or whatever. It was just kind of neat. I thought there were a lot of good ideas in this when it came to the predator and his invisibility camo.
Yeah, there was like a good amount of like cool stuff that I'm sure sounded really cool on paper, but I mean, well, it could look cool too if the CGI was better, but
Yeah.
it was not great. And yeah, I guess it was really the ideas of certain things that caught my attention more.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
Totally.
like the blood, there's multiple parts where he gets blood on him and you can see like he's running through the plains or he's in the water or something like that.
Yeah, the
So-
Jurassic Park 2 tall grass thing where he's coming fast too,
Yeah, he's
which was really
quick.
cool.
Yeah, it's really fast.
He takes out the one guy that has like the black on his eyes and stuff like that. Oh, by the way, that guy, I felt like that might have been a reference to number one. It's a stretch, but when Bill Duke pulls down Carl Weathers, and at first you think it's like the Predator getting him. In this one, you think that guy is the Predator, maybe grabbing Amber Midthunder's character. Yeah, but that's a stretch. Hey,
Somebody did a side by side of when he's crawling in the first one, and then all of a sudden the laser appears on his arm and it's on his head. And then somebody side by sided that one with this guy getting.
because he does get the lasers on his head. Yeah.
Yeah,
And she pushes him out of the way, which is cool. I thought that was cool too.
a good save.
Naru, she kicks ass. She really does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked how then he kills that guy and he's covered in his blood and he's chasing her and like you can see behind her, you can actually see the predator even though he's technically cloaked, I guess you would say. Stuff like that. Again, the execution wasn't always so great, but the ideas were there. I thought they were cool. Same with some of the kills.
This predator took a lot of hits. He's getting.
He did.
He's getting beat up by bears. He's getting shot by muskets. He's getting stabbed by arrows, and he's still freaking kicking. It was insane.
I just wonder how he would have held up under Arnie's group.
Oh
in
yeah.
the original. In the
Probably
original
not as good,
Predator.
I don't think. Yeah.
And,
I mean, kind of building on what you said, what is his age? Because you're right. I mean, Bear kicked his ass. The Native Americans were kicking his ass with spears and arrows.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was not a gun one that I don't think hurt him until she shot him in the back of the head. So
Oh, that's how she got the mask. She shot him. That's right. And then it popped off, and she grabs it while he's in pain and
Oh
dips.
yeah.
yeah.
The little dog that was chasing the bunny, even that dog got a bite off on the predator. He like bit his leg
He did.
and made him like bleed a bunch. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're even getting beat by little dogs.
You know, I think the Predator's weakness would be speed. Like if you had him if you're playing him in a fighting game, I think he's in Mortal Kombat actually. You know, Arnold and him paired up, and they were like two friggin' like bulls just smashing into each other. You know, but this one, I think, you know, he's not as agile as because he's so big and strong and stuff like that, and he doesn't have guns. And when at the end when she takes his weapons away, his helmet and everything, I think that's why through speed they were able to get him. And they had she ate the plant and it made her blood cool so he couldn't see her and stuff like that.
It was interesting. Instead of mud this time, we had a medicine plant that cools your blood.
Yeah, very appropriate,
That did-
thematic.
I
Yeah,
didn't know
That
that.
was
Yeah, it's set up in the beginning when their friend gets hurt, so she gives him some of the medicine, and he's like, "I'm so cold."
yeah. It was super
Okay.
telegraphed, but
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
that's fine.
I didn't catch
But
that.
she's still in mud though.
That was another one I thought might be a callback when she falls in
It definitely.
the quick mud.
And she's like, "Come on, come on."
Yeah.
She does that exactly.
Yeah, she does.
She's doing like an Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Come on,
She's
do
like,
it.
she's like, do it now.
There's
come
even
on,
that
do
like
it."
gnarly like tree root system that she like backs into at one point and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I even wrote in here, I don't think falling in mud needed a setup because she does that thing for so long where she's like
Oh.
throwing her tomahawk or whatever,
Yeah.
or axe, like trying to get her way out. But then they kind of turn it on its head by trapping him instead in the mud. Like I thought she was going to jump in the mud again at one point.
Yeah.
I'm like, I swear, she jumps in the mud twice. But at least, you know, trapped him or whatever.
I would have been very surprised at that because I don't think,
Yeah.
you know, her thinking would have.
That
I
wouldn't have
don't think.
done
would
anything.
have-
I don't think, no.
I don't think she would have been able to figure it out.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's pretty just like Arnold is in the first movie. She works things out really quick, you know, the way she's like, "Oh, he doesn't hunt that way." You know, she figures out when the one French trapper that lost his leg, she gives him some of the medicine and she can see that the predator can't see him until he stomps on him. Which is kind of a funny way to go.
Yeah.
I have to ask before I forget, do you guys think if you just ran away from the predator, like, do you live? Because he's only fighting things that are threats, right? He rarely kills anybody that's not a threat.
In
Can you just
Predator,
run?
in Predator 2010, they're like, "We gotta get the hell out of here. We gotta go." And Jason Brody says, "Don't run. You need to."
You keep calling
Fuck.
Jason Brody.
Adrian Brody.
Last night you're like, yeah, when Jason Brody, I'm like,
Who's Jason Brody?
I don't know.
Adrian Brody's little brother.
The
Fuck.
guy with the big nose.
Yeah,
I know him.
the pianist.
Jason Brody has a big nose too.
It's Jason Brody is Adrian Brody's big brother.
Oh, really?
He's the one that's in the first Predator, the one that does the, you know. No,
That's Jason Brody?
remember I was saying he looks like Adrian Brody's big brother or something.
That's funny.
For Jason Brody, a Far Cry video game showed up. So
Oh,
Interesting.
anyway,
Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody's like, "Don't run. That's what it wants. That's its favorite thing is when you guys run, because then it can hunt you." So I guess you don't really want to run. They proposed to stand and fight.
I guess it just didn't seem like that in this movie. He's going after the alpha in every environment, the most dangerous guy.
Well,
Just run.
like you said, continuity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
out the
I mean, he
window.
walks right by Naru.
Yeah.
To go fight her brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because he walks like right in front of her when she gets in the trap,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't see her as a threat. That was kind of
Well, I think
confusing to me.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what happened there because then the French guys show up when she's in the trap. So I didn't know if like he,
Got scared away by the Frenchman.
yeah, not that he should be scared by those guys, but maybe
Yeah.
maybe he takes some time to do some recon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Although that doesn't really seem like his MO, this Predator in particular. Like you said, Mark, you thought maybe they could have used some shots of him earlier, you know, spying on the Native Americans, like learning more about them. But he doesn't really do that. He kind of like picks them out right away and is like, all right, it's killing time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, same with the bear. He just sees it chasing some woman. He's like, I want to kill that.
But when they're running through
Oh,
the
no.
grass, you know, the brave that he kills,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he had fought him, so he saw him, even though that particular time when he was running and didn't see him as a threat, he was a threat earlier.
Yeah, right. And he still had
Where-
his bow and everything.
Yeah, I mean, she was never a threat to him, so I think maybe if she'd have kept going or maybe weaved her way away from him,
Mm-hmm.
I think she might have let him go. So he might have let her go.
Maybe. But that's her character. She's fierce. She doesn't want to be what's the word? Under, like, people think less of her. People think she can't hunt, this and that.
Underestimate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So the predator, he does too, basically.
Yeah.
And so I think she's determined to kick his ass. She even does the thing her brother tells her, like, I'm not running away, or whatever she says to him at the end before she kills him. But no, I mean, I actually really liked her overall. Not necessarily at first. I was kind of just like, this is boring. But once she started kicking butt, you know, I'm like, okay. One of the better, like, I don't know, female leads. Not that you see that many action female leads taking on predators.
Yeah. I think AVP might be the only other one to do it.
Yeah. No, she's good. She's fast.
Yeah.
And she can throw that axe, as you said, Mark. She hit a lot of trees.
Yep.
Yeah, she is.
Over and over.
Even though a lot of it's boring in the beginning, it does kind of settle you in so that you are, like, transported back to that time. We don't see any technology in this film besides the Predator's technology.
Yeah.
And
I personally don't want that with a Predator movie, though.
you don't want to be back in time?
Well, no, I just don't. I want it to feel a little more moving and
Yeah.
attention grabbing. If I want that Revenant movie, I'll just watch that.
Yeah, I mean, think how we talked about Predator, the first one, how
Yeah.
fast it moves, and
Yeah,
it's never a dull
I don't-
moment.
I don't think that's the right approach to take with a Predator movie. That's just my opinion.
I wanted to ask you, since you studied Native American history and stuff, to me it looked really good, the set designs and everything like that, the costumes, all that stuff, the
Looked good to
face
me.
paint, yeah, it was cool.
I didn't have any
It felt
critiques.
all pretty authentic, stuff like
Yeah.
that. I saw a small interview with some of the cast, and they said that Dan Trachtenberg was very receptive to input from them, because
Mhm.
I don't think any of them were Comanche, but you know, there are other tribes and stuff like that, so they're saying like, oh, I think my character might do this, or they might wear this, stuff like that.
Yeah, the brother was trying to advocate for more paint all over his face, even
Yeah.
towards, like, the end. By the end, he wasn't supposed to have any.
I saw
but-
he was that's his first ever acting appearance in
Oh,
anything. Yeah.
wow.
I thought he was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, some of the acting thought was a little stiff, but I'm like, I can excuse it from these extras that have one line,
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
fine. It wasn't like laughably bad or
Right.
or you know, like, oh god, that's horrible. It wasn't anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think of the mountain lion part of it?
I kept having to tell Christian, like, where are they? There's lions here?
Yeah,
And I
right.
was like, it's probably a mountain lion. Then when it shows him, like, oh, okay, it's
A
mountain
plains lion.
Yeah.
I think
Lions and tigers and bears
Oh.
on that.
I think that took them too long. Also,
Yeah.
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 What I wanted to ask you guys about some of like the kills. I one of my pet peeves on like violent. Well, it's, you know, Predator's kind of like a slasher in some ways, and I hate when they cut away from the kill, like it's off screen, just off screen. You see like a guy's head, but he's getting stabbed through the stomach, and you don't see any of the gore or anything.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's a ton of that in this movie because you save money on CGI.
Mhm.
But I definitely liked the net, you know, squeezing. There's like a Pokeball kind of.
That
like,
was a cool take on it.
yeah, I didn't know where it was going to stop, and it just kept going, and it shrunk. I was like, damn, bro. And then you see like little meat cubes on the ground.
I'm
there
trying
was
to remember
another
the-
one. There was another movie where they had that kind of net too.
Was
Oh,
it
yeah.
in Predator 2? With the net?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, that might have been where they introduced the net.
Yeah, where it just like...
and in Alien versus Predator,
definitely in that
because
one.
the blood came out, and, you know, the alien's blood. Yeah, now I remember.
The
Yeah.
xenomorph is called Nethead after that.
Nethead.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah. There's one kill where he like swipes the guy's legs and like cuts off both his legs and then pins him to a log or something like that.
That
I
was
was
a
like,
pretty
oh, I finally
brutal kill.
showed one at least. you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, it was. And then I think we mentioned earlier, but the shield, you know, expanding out and decapitating the dude.
We got a Wilhelm scream in there.
It stood out so much. Ah! I was like, oh no. One death I didn't like. I didn't really like the way they handled the brother dying. Like they cut all the sound and it goes silent and it's like these long, like kind of almost slow motion-y type shots.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, I don't know. I wish he had a better send off. You know?
It felt a little bit lifeless in that moment.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, there was something seriously lacking when they took the sound away. And that one kill, I was like, okay, I guess that's kind of cool, but I mean, I don't feel the impact that I think that they really wanted me to feel.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
that was kind of disappointing.
Because what's the point of cutting away the sound? It's like to make it so it's like you're sort of in her perspective, like, oh, shock, I'm shocked at the brother dying, but
Shell shock, yeah.
you're not, you kind of know he's gonna die. He's basically saying, I'm gonna sacrifice myself,
Right.
and it's the
Which-
fucking Predator. It's not,
Right.
you know.
Which I see story-wise why they were trying to go for that, but I was also kind of upset that the brother's like, anyway, so I kind of give up. I'm not going any further here, okay? And then all of a sudden he gets stabbed. It's like,
Yeah.
you could have, like, hit or something. I don't know what you
Give
wanted
it
to
a
do
shot.
there, yeah.
Well, it's like you said, Mark. It was fucked up. Like the whole movie, the Predator is fighting the bear with hand-to-hand combat, or like he's only using like arrows, and then he finally starts to get beat a little, so he goes into his camouflage. It's like, damn, fight with some honor,
Yeah.
Right.
Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since they are such an honorable species.
That's the whole point of it, right? It's supposed to be sport. That's why the first one fights Dutch, and he's just throwing him against the wall instead of, stabbing him right away like he could have. He's enjoying it. He's savoring it.
Yeah.
This Predator, the first sign of losing.
Yeah.
Soy loosey.
Yeah, he's really a sore loser. Almost as sore as the first Predator. That guy just blows himself up.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the Predator himself, his death was, the whole setup and everything I was fine with, but then he gets decapitated. Doesn't he get decapitated at one point?
She brings the
That's
trophy
setup,
home.
yeah.
Oh, that's right.
She
Yeah,
does
yeah,
it, yeah.
That I didn't care for. Like I saw the head get like thrown on the. It looked like kind of what you said, Ian, like a cheap imitation of a Predator. Like, I just was like, that's the Predator head. You finally get like you can make a real good practical effect with it, and it's just, I don't know,
I was wondering there for a second how she was going to drag that back.
the whole body.
Yeah,
Body.
same.
Yeah, she gave up. I did think the visual was pretty striking. The blood I didn't like, just like you didn't, Ian, but it at least looks cool on her face, and that's the poster, I think, too.
Did you not like the color of the blood?
Yeah, the color, it didn't look right.
I will say, looking at it on the actual big screen instead of my phone, I did notice that some of it almost seemed CGI imposed, like a face
I think
swap onto
I
it.
think all of it was.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
It
Okay.
looked like it. I don't know for sure, but it looked like it.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
What was their
adding the blood
KY
in
jelly
post.
budget?
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean,
Just
can we
do
all
the practical
go?
effect.
Can we all go to the grocery store and buy that?
Yeah.
I don't think there was a KY jelly shortage, to my knowledge.
Unless they didn't think of adding it until in the editing room, they're like, this scene needs something. Let's
Yeah,
splash
more-
some alien blood on her.
I
It's
hope
like
not.
it kind of looks like a video game. Like, well, that's what the kids like.
Yeah.
That's what the kids like these days. We gotta make it look like a video game. I don't know.
Make
It-
it look
it
like
didn't-
Modern Warfare.
Yeah, but green. It just looked kind of
Yeah.
not as good.
Yeah.
And what about the ending? What did you guys think of the ending? Like, it just kind of, for me, it just kind of ended.
Yeah.
And
It was like, that was it.
Yeah.
She's
It's
back.
Just, it's just there.
Says there's a new threat, which I guess is the trappers.
I guess.
And she's
Mhm.
like, all right.
And the whole thing with the pistol, which just
Yeah.
again, I was like, what?
Bit fan servicey, maybe.
But
But it's not, because it
just
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't
Right.
make sense. I don't know.
I'll tell you my problem with the pistol is it's not hers. It's not her name on there. It's just something she randomly got from a fur trapper. We don't even know the fur trapper's name. He's just all like, so you put the powder in there and then you just kind of stuff the ball in, and then she uses it once on the back of his head. That's not even the final kill though. She uses his own weapon against him for the final kill.
Mhm.
So it's kind of insignificant. Maybe if that was the final kill, was a pistol to the head. Oh shit, this is the pistol that actually killed a predator, and Danny Glover gets it in Predator 2. But it's just
It's to the point where it's just like, thank you for referencing Predator 2.
Yeah.
Because I like Predator
Yeah.
2. But at the same time, it might be better. We're probably better off not knowing what the pistol means.
right.
It's probably, we can come up with probably a cooler thing of the backstory of that pistol than what this movie gave us.
Maybe that's the next movie, is explaining where that one came from.
Well, then
Who Adelini is.
A whole story, a whole new story.
A prequel to the prequel. Right?
Yeah.
Come on, let's do it. Prequel to prequel.
No, it'd be a sequel to the prequel. It would be.
But it'd also still be a prequel.
a
Yeah.
squeakquel.
Yeah, it's a reboot slash prequel
That is a-
slash sequel.
That is a prequel thing that I usually have a problem with, is when you watch a prequel and they're like, remember this from this movie? Here's the backstory. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I didn't want the backstory.
exactly.
Yeah. In this
Yeah.
case, I mean, I don't know if I would say it's a backstory, but
It's just, I mean, again, it's cool that they
It's just
reference
there.
it, but at the same time, it doesn't really add anything to the maybe it does for some people. It might for someone when they go and watch Predator 2. Like, that's what the chick had in Predator.
Maybe.
Prey. Where the fuck is it called?
Yeah.
And
I wonder.
yeah.
Well, I will say though, she says we need to move to higher ground. Trouble's coming, or we got a problem coming, and she throws an alien head, but then she also throws a man-made pistol, and it's like, is she talking about these alien sons of bitches that are coming, or is she talking
Right.
about the
Both.
alien settlers that are coming and they're gonna start spreading disease and gunpowder and stuff?
Who knows?
You can
Yeah.
kind of try to read into it a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of feels like the Predator was an afterthought. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's
didn't
like
re-
the Predator wasn't really the main focus of the filmmakers. It's just they were more kind of wanting to show the Native American tribe and the French settlers, and nothing wrong with that. But
Which
why bring in the Predator though?
it's an allegory. That's the metaphor.
What's the metaphor?
Well, the Comanche tribe, they get decimated and put into Oklahoma. What is it?
reservation.
Reservations. Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with the movie though.
Well, I'm thinking Apocalypto. Remember that one,
I've
Mel
never seen
Gibson's
that.
film? It's going through all the Aztec troubles, the warring tribes, and he has to escape home. He finally escapes home, and the ending is revealed. He's on the beach. He's like out of breath, and he just won.
Yeah.
And then he looks up, and he sees a
Spaniards.
boat, and Spanish settlers are coming.
Mm.
And then it's just like a zoom in on his face, and it's like, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
And in this way, it's like, what's gonna happen next in the end? We got aliens coming, and we got settlers coming.
Yeah.
Well, in a way,
What's
we
next?
know what happens next. The Predator just keeps coming back to Earth, to hot places where there's conflict.
Oh no! I just broke my pen.
Yeah, that's how powerful
Conflict.
It just says it. Yeah.
Reanimate.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how hot the Great Plains were in 1719.
I didn't really see much conflict going on.
Maybe there was a heat wave
the
in
the
1719.
conflict happened after the Predator got there.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
You know, that could have all been smoothed over if like all they had to do was like a couple times show like some of the natives around the camp just being
Well-
like, "Whew, it's been hot this year."
I
you
might
know?
have forgiven it if it wasn't a boring movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me I thought the beginning half was more boring. The second half, picked up. It was better. It moved along.
Yeah.
It was good. You know what pissed me off when they're tracking the predator? She's tracking the predator. She doesn't know what she's hunting yet until she like leaves on her own. She brings her dog, and the dog's just like running up like, "Row, row, row," and that's how the predator even hears them. I'm like, what the fuck kind of tracking is this? Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna scare off everything within like a quarter mile because you got this dog.
Remember, I don't know why I just saw this. Remember in Friday the 13th Part 4 when it's like, yeah, I'm out here hunting. And then Corey Feldman's like, what are you hunting? He's like, bear. So you guys seen any interesting stuff going on? You can't be hunting for bear.
Yeah, yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
Corey Feldman should have been in this movie telling the chick that. Although
Can't
the chick
hunt
had
for
already.
predator.
Yeah, you can't be hunting a predator.
One of the guys in that was with her when this was happening said something about is the dog tracking, or are you, or we're following the dog, something like that.
Yeah.
So even then they don't have. She's not getting any respect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, they
gets no respect.
they don't give her no respect
Eh,
the
no
whole time.
respect at all.
Yeah, but you got to figure too. This is the way it's always been.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's a gatherer at the the beginning, but you could tell she doesn't want to be. Hence the 10 minutes of axe throwing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey,
It was really
Great
cool
aim.
to watch. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, she has that little scene where she fights like 4 trappers at the camp. She whooped their ass.
That was good. Good little fight scene.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was all one shot too.
Yeah.
It's all some of the better I don't know, cinematography, acting, I thought.
It was a pretty movie. Loved the soundtrack. Once the fighting got going, it was pretty cool. God, there's just so many holes. Yeah. I gotta go with 3, guys. Gotta do it.
Hell yeah.
I can't do much more just because it's slow. The build up is slow. I wasn't really impressed with how the Predator looked. His choice of weapons was pretty cool. I did like those. Yeah, 3.
Cool. Ian, what do you give
Same
Prey?
thing. 3.
A treat?
Pretty much everything Mark said. It's competently made. That's why I give it a passing grade. The Amber Midthunder's performance is pretty good. but it's just boring. And again, it just felt like the whole Predator aspect was an afterthought to a movie regarding Native American tribes and French settlers. It was just, I don't know, could have had much more involvement from the Predator, and maybe, I don't know, just more interesting situations, more interesting, just better pacing. I don't know, but yeah, 3 out of 5 for me.
Cool. What about you, Christian? What do you give The Prey?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 3 as well. I give it a passing grade, but yeah, I agree with the slow start to it. The not just start, but even after the start, it is still slow. And then, I mean, things do pick up in the second half, which was good. I was really waiting for them to, kind of show what the Predator was going to look like, and I wanted to know. I was like, how much are they going to change with the Predator's look? Like, what's going to happen with that? And then they do change it up, which, I don't hate the new look of it, but it could have been better. So, yeah, the acting was good. Story is kind of interesting. I like the setting. Great cinematography. Yeah. So, just 3.
Nice. Rome, what do you give Prey?
Well, I want to be different, but I'm not. I'm going to give it a 3 as well. Which is funny, though, because I feel like I've talked about it more positively. Ian, you've been more like, not so much, but then we end up coming to the same.
Yeah, I can acknowledge that, it's not horrible. It's not a bad movie. It's just boring.
Well, it's definitely got problems, I would say, yeah. The characters, like, there's probably 4 characters I'll remember from this movie in, like, a week's time. It just so happens that I really do like the main sister and brother. So that's good. The Predator design was just okay to me. I didn't care for it either way. It wasn't that great. It wasn't that bad. I just thought it was interesting. I just thought it was an interesting take on Predator. It was kind of cool to see Native Americans fighting him, and they're very resourceful and things like that. So it was interesting to see all that get implemented in the movie, into the fighting and stuff like that. As far as one thing I really missed was the violence. I think the first one was really violent, lots of explosions and things like that.
Second one is too.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm thinking of like Carl Weathers' arm getting chopped off, and Bill Duke's head exploding and things like that. I just kind of missed all that here. But she, the main character, she was clever, and she sort of outsmarted the Predator in the end. So I liked the way all that resolved. I just didn't really like the ending, because after that is just nothing else, And I think maybe that speaks to how much was going on in the movie besides the Predator, which was really not much, which is why the first half is so slow, because you're kind of like, what are we building towards? Like, what are we even doing here? Just a lot of big drone shots, which are pretty,
Mm-hmm.
but ultimately, not much going on.
Yeah.
Besides the Predator and stuff like that. So anyway, I would say 3. I don't know if this will be one I rewatch, but like, if someone turns it on and I start watching it, it wouldn't be objectionable to me.
Yeah.
Turn this shit off.
Right.
No, none of that.
Right, no,
Yeah.
Like Requiem, if you put Requiem on, I'd say turn that shit off.
Exactly.
Can you adjust the brightness? I can't see anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just, man, there's a lot of CGI in this.
Yeah.
I wish there were more physical effects and things like that.
Yeah.
I think when we looked beforehand at the IMDb page, I might have mentioned this, but like the visual effects.
Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff Jr.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's kind of like, where were they?
Yeah, right. I didn't notice much puppetry with the Predator or anything like that. But I was just going to say, like, visual effects, I think there was like 350 people, and then like special effects was like 40 people. To me, it should be almost the opposite.
Other way around,
Yeah, but of course, just like everybody else that talks about movies, I'm like, CGI. No, I don't want CGI. Good CGI is good, and if you use it in like partnership with, practical physical effects, I think that's when it's at its best. But
that's why I
didn't get a lot of that there.
Jurassic Park's a standout CGI movie. That's
exactly
what they do in that movie is exactly what you just said.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I wish they would have done that more here, but hey, we got what we got. I'm sure it's going to make a lot of money for Hulu.
Yeah.
And overall, I would say 3, because afterwards I enjoyed it. There were parts during when I didn't, but by the end I said, yeah, that's a decent movie.
Nice.
Yeah, 3 for me. Carlos?
I gotta give it a 3.5. I did like this one a lot. I'm trying to think, if you try to make a Native American film fighting the Predator, how are you going to even accomplish that? I think they did the best that they could. It is a beautifully shot film. I agree with the pacing. It can be very boring at times. Going up the food chain, going from an ant to a little rabbit to a dog to a bear, kind of interesting, you know. I see what they were trying to do there, but I was also like, why is a predator wasting his time with a snake? Come on. They introduced the new shields, the new arrow weaponry for the predator. Those were kind of fun. And I was trying to think, like, if he's going to go up against a bunch of fur trappers, how would you even represent the combat? It's muskets that take forever to reload. I thought it was a fun idea to hide it in the smoke and have, like, gunfire going down the line. Kind of like how a real French line would do it. I like this one. I give it a 3.5, but there are the glaring flaws of the CGI animals. I kind of agree with it just kind of ending. Although we do get the after credits where it kind of explains that there's more aliens coming. But, you know, maybe that would have been nice to see it on camera.
But we already know that. We already know there's going to be more predators.
Right.
Because we've seen the other movies. I don't know.
Well, we don't know if they're coming for that specific tribe, though.
This time.
This
Maybe.
time. Yeah.
We don't know how predators really work, do we? Like, do they take vengeance?
We have an idea.
Yeah. No, forget about
That
those
they
other
forgot
movies.
about.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So,
I think that it stays true to the franchise of the Predator. We get those homages from Predator 2. We get the homages. Come on, do it now. Kill me. But yeah, we don't have that big. We have a mission to do. We have to save a guy. Oh, we're getting betrayed. Oh, now we have to get to the chopper. You know.
Yep.
We're just trying to go on a hunt and earn our right to hunt. Yeah.
yeah, she's like digging up potatoes.
Yeah.
And
What was that? Yeah, turnips.
Yams, I don't know.
I thought they were like yams or something.
I think they're yams, yeah.
This is before politics was created, so I don't know.
They didn't have anything to do.
Yeah, they didn't have anything to do.
There was no CIA to report to.
Yeah.
What happened to you, Dylan?
Colombian Jamaican drug lords.
Yeah.
They couldn't say, oh yeah, remember that job that we pulled and our whole squad got killed,
Yeah.
and it was just us to come back. Just
Yeah.
you and me, baby.
Just you and me.
And it will spread
Yeah.
like buffalo pushing pencils.
I was gonna say that when we were watching it will spread like diarrhea from buffalo. I was gonna say that when we were watching. I didn't know that was too politically incorrect.
Damn, bro. Like buffalo diarrhea. Oh, I did like the fake out with the buffalo that you think it's the predator kind of, and then it turns out to be the French.
That was a good one.
You fucking French. Yeah.
They're French.
Because you could see there was a cigar on the ground by. And I didn't think the predator smoked cigars.
Yeah.
I kept thinking it was.
We were kind of like, wait, what? What is a cigar?
Is he smoking a stogie?
Yeah, he's
Close
immersing
enough.
himself in our culture.
Yeah.
Even
He
the
traveled
predator,
back in time. He had Dutch's cigar.
Yeah, he's smoking stogies like me. I thought the better how to smoke a stogie. Yeah.
even the predator picks up the stogie. He's like, what the hell is this?
He does. Can you imagine? He just smoked it
Oh, okay.
in his
All right.
mandible jaw.
Yeah.
Pineapple Express.
Yeah.
Yeah, purple pineapple delight.
I don't have to find a hiding spot like you.
Well,
Was it her that ripped off one of his mandals?
Yeah,
and
what
stabbed
the
him with
heck?
the tusk.
Yeah.
How'd she rip it
That was
off?
weird.
I don't remember.
It's a quick.
I don't remember anything.
I feel like if you
Badass,
ripped
man.
part of my mouth off, it would just go, hey, hey. But she just like ripped off his whole mandible.
That's another thing. Again, we watched this like our fucking YouTube channel. We watched it last night. I don't fucking remember so much shit.
Damn.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hey, predators have poor dental hygiene, and so it's real easy to just pop a tooth off. Should brush your teeth more.
Gingivitis.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Gingivitis.
that's the latest Prey, the latest Predator film, guys. And next week, tune in. We will be watching the original Terminator film from 1984.
Son.
Yes. More Schwarzenegger. Give us all the Schwarzenegger.
Use the Schwartz.
The Schwartz. Right in there, crack it.
But until then, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Later.
Bye.
Direct to streaming movies, like you said it earlier, Ian, it's a red flag a little bit when you get major motion pictures like these. But then again, sometimes streaming platforms have good movies. There's a lot of good Netflix original movies.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So maybe we got to change the way we think about that, but I still just can't help but cringe a little bit when I hear, the newest Predator movie on Hulu. I'm like,
it's all money though, because a lot of these, like, it varies by country. Like, a lot of the time when we get a movie like straight to Netflix, straight to Hulu, they'll show it in theaters in China or Europe. It all depends. So I feel like sometimes a lot of the time, to varying degrees, they will still shoot it like it's going to theaters, and they probably also still know that it's going to be predominantly seen on streaming, but a lot of the time these dudes get shown in theaters.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I feel like maybe even that, well, I guess not, because it's internationally, like, Disney Plus has the rights to it, and it's getting shown in other countries, but I find it funny, they shot it in 235:1. That's, like...
Oh, it looks like that in some of those shots.
The best way to be seen is on the movie screen.
Yeah.
In a nice, wide...
Vista.
Silver screen, but I don't know.